If you're going to make a smoked beef stew, you're going to need some smoked beef. So let's get the grill set up right quick. While that's coming up to temp, let's go inside and prep the Chucky. We're gonna rub some mustard on it as a binder. Now you won't be able to taste the mustard once the meat is done, so don't worry about that. Everything that makes mustard taste like mustard evaporates during the cooking process. My plan today is to give this a couple of hours of smoke, no more than a couple of hours. I'm not trying to go all the way done. Meanwhile, let's get back in the kitchen and start prepping the veggies. I'm keeping it simple with the vegetables. I'm only doing 3: potatoes, onions, and carrots. And then I put them in a pot with some oil, kind of braise them a little bit, broke them so they can break down. After that, I started adding my ingredients that I'm gonna use to bring flavor to my stew. First up, some red wine. I'm not measuring here, I'm just pouring a little bit in. Then I added some Italian seasoning. Finally, a whole box of beef broth. I wanted some kind of tomato flavor in my stew, so I decided to add a can of fire roasted tomatoes. I love the taste of fire roasted tomatoes. I use them every chance I get. So I stirred in a can of that as well. After simmering a while, I knew that my sauce wasn't going to be quite thick enough, so now what we need to do is make a slurry. A slurry is made with cornstarch and water. It has to be cold water, by the way. So I believe the ratio is, it's either 1 part cornstarch and 2 parts, it's either 1 start, I don't remember what the ratio is, but you can look it up online. Just look up how to make a cornstarch slurry, but it's about a tablespoon or so of cornstarch and maybe a half a tablespoon of water or something like that. And you stir it up and it makes this paste. Now, like I said, it's gotta be cold water, and don't make a mistake of thinking that you can just sprinkle some cornstarch right into the pot, because if you do that, it will clump up. I had to do it a couple of times to get the consistency I wanted. But after it continued to cook, it got to the point where it was just right, just thick enough without being too thick. All right, so it's been 2 hours. Like I told you, I wanted to take my chuck roast off after 2 hours of smoke. So I'm just gonna bring it in and chop it up into cubes, small enough to not be a problem on the spoon, but big enough to give you a nice chew. Now that I got everything incorporated, all of the meat, all of the veggies, all of the seasoning that I want, I'm just gonna put the whole thing back on the grill in my cast iron Dutch oven. By the way, if you're interested in buying a cast iron Dutch oven or a slow and sphere, just check out the description below and I'll have a link to my store where you can buy all of that stuff. So I didn't leave it out there very long. Like I said, my Chucky is already smoked, and I didn't want the whole thing to get too much smoke. I think I left it out there simmering on the grill for maybe another half hour, and then I brought it inside because I wanted to finish this thing with the lid covered. And so here's the finished result, man. Looks amazing. It tasted even better. And the thing about a stew or a casserole or something like that, where you have lots of flavors at play, is that they just keep marrying and gelling and commingling together, and it just gets better and better every day, seems like. There's only two things that I would change about this, and I'm going to do that next time I cook this recipe. And that is, number one, I'm going to do it on the weekend, so I got plenty of time. The other thing I'm going to change is I'm going to go ahead and smoke my Chucky all the way through next time, rather than just smoking it for 2 hours and then chopping it up. I'm going to smoke it all the way through, just like I do if I'm smoking it like a brisket. And then once it's all the way up to temp, 200, 205, then I'll cube it up, put it in there, and let the stew do the rest, man. But you need a cast iron pot that's safe for the grill. Now, if you get one of these cast iron Dutch ovens that have a pretty color on it, that's enamel, and enamel will stain. That smoke will stain enamel. You will not be able to get it off. So if you want something to cook on the grill with, just get the plain old black cast iron Dutch oven, and it will serve you well. I hope you enjoyed this recipe. If you do, drop me a comment and let me know. It's fun on the grill, man.